You ancient Zion's King, Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. You reign, you ancient Zion's King, Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. You reign, you ancient Zion's King, Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. You reign, you ancient Zion's King, Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. You are mighty on your throne. You reign, Zion King, Kadosh, Kadosh. You reign, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. Kadosh, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. Good morning. Once again, I'm excited to come your way on this same platform, Masters Meetup. This morning, I want to share with you a little piece. I have captioned, don't harm today that man who will help you tomorrow. Don't harm today that man who will help you tomorrow. You know, there are some people by design and by default, they are destined to be your helper in the near future. They are destined to play a massive role in your life in the days and the years to come. And we all must have the fortitude to know this kind of people. We must have the heart to discern these kind of people whenever they come around or they get into our territory. Other than that, we may maltreat them, we may destroy them, we may kill them, or we may give them out even to the enemy or people who are after them. But my heart desire and my prayer and my wish that we will not fall into that pit and we will not make that mistake. A beautiful story in the greatest of all books captured my heart, and that story goes a long way to illustrate what I'm sharing with you this morning. This is a story about Joseph. This was a young man who began to dream And out of his dreams, he was seeing big things. He was seeing things beyond himself, and his own siblings and his own brothers got agitated. They became angry, and that led to hatred and envy. And out of envy and hatred, they didn't speak peaceably to him. They even conspired and planned his death. But for one reason or the other, and by virtue of providence, he was not killed, he was sold. And he found himself in a land called Egypt. And when at the end of the day, this man Joseph rose to the highest pinnacle in the land of Egypt. And there came a time where there was scarcity, there was famine. The economy was hard. The economy had, it was hard. It was hard. But this man Joseph had to bring his family. The same brothers, the same people who hated him, who even wanted to kill him, who wanted to destroy him, who sold him out, who wanted to cause him harm, he brought them in. You see, he brought them into Egypt. Not only into Egypt, but to have a stay. And Egypt was the superpower then. So if it was to be today, we could have likened Egypt to either America or China or Europe. He brought them to that place. And not only even to have a stay, but also to have, not only to be there, to just to pass through, but to have a stay. And he brought them also into the presence of Pharaoh. He brought them into the presence of Pharaoh, the greatest monarch of that time. You see, there are some people, there is no way you can get into their presence and you'll have the opportunity of meeting them. But it has to take somebody who plays a role, who is very vital, who is needed so much by these individuals to take you into their presence or to get to meet them. And through Joseph, that same man they wanted to kill, they had the opportunity to meet Pharaoh, the greatest monarch of that time. And when he brought them to Egypt, he also gave them the best of land, the best of place to stay. It is like getting into America or China and getting the best of place, the best of house, the best of estate, the best of apartment to stay, just because of one man. Just because of one man. And through that same man, they got job opportunities from the highest position in the nation. From the highest position in the nation. And what kills it is that he fed them, fed their children. And whilst others were paying with their land, their life and money to be fed, these guys were fed freely. They were fed freely. All by this same man Joseph. This was the same man they wanted to kill, they wanted to destroy. But this was the same man, by design or by default, he was to go ahead of them, be a pace setter and a pathfinder, to prepare the way for them to have help in times of need, in hard times, and in times of scarcity. You see, there are some people who come our way, we meet them along the journey of life. We might be older than them in terms of age, or in terms of position, we might be in a better position, or we might have one advantage or one way or the other than them. But we must not use our age, we must not use our position, we must not use the advantages that we have to destroy them or to cause them harm, to cause them pain, or to even kill them. Because for all you may know, by divine design or by divine default, these are the same people God will use to help you. These are the same people God will use to provide for you. These are the same people God will use to introduce you. These are the same people God will use to pave way and to make way for you. Why? Because in them is embedded something God has bestowed or God has deposited that will be needed in the near future, that will be needed in the great position, that will be needed by kings and princes and by men in authority. And once they get there, they'll be in that position. They'll be in that position to be of a good help. So when he was in his father's house, he was a small boy. He was a young boy. He was not to be counted. But by virtue of what was in him, the same thing that they were fighting, the same thing they wanted to kill him for, was the same thing that brought him into the presence of Pharaoh. And that lifted him to the place and the pinnacles of greatness. And that was the same thing that made him relevant and that made him needed in Egypt. And by reason of that, he commanded authority in Egypt. And because Egyptians, they needed that so much, they needed to do things for him so that he will be there to help them. And by reason of that fact, he could bring in his family, he could bring in his brothers, he could bring in the entire family. Who is that man you are fighting or you are destroying by reason of your advantage or your position or your age? Just because you have spotted something in him that you don't have. Look beyond that man. Look beyond the fact that he is gifted and talented than you. And look at the bigger picture. Look at the very reason that God deposited that thing in that person. And you will know that your benefit is in it. You will know that out of it will come something that will be of a great benefit to you, and not you only, but to your family and to a great number of people. Don't destroy that man. Don't destroy today. Don't destroy today that man that will help you tomorrow. But have that fortitude to figure them out. Have that heart of discerning to know and to see them whenever they come around and give them the best of treatment. And I promise you, when they get to that pinnacle, you shall not be a hypocrite to identify with them. Why? Because when they were nobodies, when they were down, you were there for them. You gave them the best of treatment. Thank you. I'll meet you again on this same platform. Bye-bye for now.